So, yeah, I think in this session we have a few people lined up to just talk about their or want to get resume advice. So, first up, we got JN. Can you give a background of yourself and what kind of companies you're trying to land at? And then we could guide the feedback towards this. It's going to be a resume review session for, yeah, do this for an hour or so.
Okay, so my name is, I guess, JN. You can call
Mm-hmm.
me Java. I'm based at Europe, at Eastern Europe. I work at a top manufacturing company as a data engineer at this moment.
Nice.
I'm trying to switch to software engineer at Fang company. Uh, yeah, mostly targeting Fang. Been prepping for like six months so far, grinding some lead code. Generally SV, like generally SVE, trying to land in the back end. So I'm trying to kind of switch the careers and yeah, I would need to get some advice on what to do, where to tweak
Nice.
my CV. So yeah.
Did you already send me your resume? Where is it? Let me find
Uh,
it.
Not yet, but I can send you.
Yeah, send it, send it.
Okay.
Paul, we got another data engineer. So you're based in Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
Is Fang companies operating there, hiring there?
yeah, actually a lot.
Nice, yeah. Fang companies love Eastern Europe or hiring in Europe.
Yeah, cheap labor, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. They pay all good too. I think it's the people that are
Yeah,
really smart. Honestly, I noticed with the
yeah,
algorithms and
probably.
stuff.
Bro, I can't attach my. Okay, I'm gonna drop in Google Drive. Sorry for a sec.
Yeah, I'll message you. Oh, they pay 60K in Poland.
60K in Poland?
I don't even know. If that's USD, can't you live like a king in Poland for that much?
That's true. That's pretty true.
It's like
But
the
you
cost
you
of
pay a
living.
lot of taxes. Taxes are high as well. So if you're on B2B, that must be good. But if it's like on a full-time contract, usual contract, where
Where do you live in
pretty
Eastern
much
Europe?
I live in Poland as well.
Oh wow, nice. I have a bunch of
Yeah.
Polish friends. Are you Polish?
No, I'm not
Oh, okay.
Polish. I'm studying here. I
Nice,
just
yeah.
finished studies and working.
What's a good salary there in USD?
I think top notch would be 60, 65K.
How much do you have to pay in rent? Like, what are the rent prices?
Depends on the flat. There are like some fancy flats for 5K if you want per month, but usually it would be around 1,000 or 1,500 if you're living like with family. But if you're alone with a one room, it's like 1K.
1K, and you could afford a 1K rent only being paid 60K a year? Uh,
Yeah.
that sounds like already pushing it a bit. Because after tax, I don't know what the tax rate is.
Yeah, the
But
life is a bit frugal here.
yeah, like after,
What?
or the other things aren't expensive. The non. Nice, send me your resume.
I
Did
sent
I
you a picture. I don't know. I couldn't attach the PDF.
did I review your resume before or no?
No, no, no.
In the US, you could be making like 200K and you're still not good. Nah, people just get greedy. Okay, you have your name here. Let's take a look at this. I'm just looking at the. You have your work experience. You have your education. So you
Yeah.
graduated in 2024.
Yes.
So the first thing I would do is I would probably drop my education after my work experience, because now that you're a seasoned, you're a experienced developer, that matters more than your education. So the first thing I would want to see is where you've worked. If you've already graduated, it's gonna be, well, it's only been a year, but so it's not as bad. But over the years, pretend for me, it wouldn't even make sense to show my education first. They mostly care where I work first because I've already been working in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So what I
Okay.
would do is you want to order your resume in the way that you think recruiters or the recruiters want to see it. So I think it would be better if you put your work experience, then maybe your projects, education, then skills, or you could do work experience, education, then projects. But I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, um, the work experience is the most important part, though. That's what I'm saying. Move it up to the top. Let's like look through your data points. So you're a data engineer from 7/20/24. Okay, these are good. I'm just looking at the. I like your format. These link out into GitHubs and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, what kind of roles are you trying to land? Oh, you said Fang companies?
Yeah, I'm saying Fang. I don't know. It could be a data engineer at Fang or some graduate SV1.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's see. Let's start. Paul, take a look at this guy's resume too, because I know you're a data engineer. So you optimized ETL performance pipelines by 30%, processing 10 terabytes of data monthly by designing efficient Azure Databricks with dynamic partitioning. Okay, this is good. How did you actually do this though? If you're allowed to talk about it, by designing efficient. Like, how did you make
Oh,
the
so
pipeline efficient? Did you optimize it
okay.
or did you build it from scratch?
I had to there was a like there's always a main pipe that runs daily at the morning in the like every morning. So I optimized that pipe. It wasn't that much pretty optimized because no one knew PySpark that much. No one tuned the data.
Mm-hmm.
So I implemented some like logic to partition the data based on some logic. That's really hard to
Yeah.
explain what the logic is, but yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, reduce manual interventions by 30%, enabling 24/7 data integration by automating workflows across distributed systems using Azure Data Factory. Let me need to mute.
Yeah, that's just some manual. Like there was a lot of manual task for by ops people to prevent some. I don't know when ETL fails at night, they had to go and do some stuff. I created some logic for that
So
as
reduce
well.
manual
So
interventions by enabling 24/7 data integration by automating. Boosted team productivity by 40%, saving 200 plus man hours by month by developing automated reporting solutions in Azure for 5 plus departments. Ensured 99.9% pipeline uptime and prevented data loss at scale. Okay, this is really good stuff so far. This is really good.
mhm,
We're like working inside of your role of getting finding parts in the system and optimizing it and like build bringing value to the team. Decrease.
mhm.
Okay, so you want to switch sort of into SWE, like become a software engineer?
Yes, actually, I really wanted to be a software, but I landed in ML, and then I somehow tried to transition to SVE, but we didn't have any roles, so they gave me data engineer because that was the most like kind of a closer to software. I don't know,
Yeah,
and yeah,
I see. How? When did you graduate? 2024.
yeah, 2024 July.
Yeah. So ensured 99% pipeline uptime and prevented data loss at scale through the implementation of robust monitoring. Okay. So decreased manufacturing. Are okay. First off, in your bullet points are already really good. You show the metric that you optimized. You're showing, and you're giving me good context on how you did it, and it's quantifiable. I don't know. I wouldn't change anything in these bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
Decreased manufacturing scrap by 30%, saving 50K a year. by deploying machine learning model in Python using scikit-learn. Enhance model accuracy by 20%, providing real time. I think all of your bullet points are really good. The part that I'm thinking more about right now is have you ever led a project that like a project in the company so far? Like right now the examples I think are you're optimizing, or these are like more technical projects. Have you led any like product initiatives or any like pretend the company to do a launch? Did you help like spin up a new product line, build out a new API, build out a new system or anything like that to like expand
Actually,
the business?
yeah, that's a good question. Actually, yeah, like I'm starting a new project by May, right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't finish the project yet, but I should finish it by the end of fiscal year, which is like July.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, by then maybe I'll have something like it.
Okay, yeah. Because I think that will help complement this as well. Because okay, yeah, you're taking things that's already existing, and making sure it's really good, and driving a lot of technical improvements for the team. But some of these fan companies want also people who drive new product lines or new areas of business. So showing you have experience on that is good as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
also with the product features or the product related things, it also shows you can work across non-technical team too. So you could work with product managers, designers, go to market, all these different functions in order to get something out. And a lot of times, like all of these systems that you're working on, the reason why these systems are in place are to drive the business forward. And there are actual products that use this infrastructure, right? Like what's the product that
Mhm.
uses this stuff that's it's built on? Like all this infrastructure you're working on, what's the product that uses it? I'm just curious. If you're allowed to
Uh,
talk, if not, then it's all good.
it's for people. Whatever I can say is that uh, it's for the business decision. Let's say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see. I see
Okay. Paul was
backend.
saying that analysts.
Oh, this for data
Uh,
analysts. Oh, so this is
no,
for. Okay, yeah.
no.
Okay. Backend developer built scalable backend services to support 5,000 users by developing RESTful APIs and backend systems using Python and Django. Optimize database interaction, reducing response times by 15% and improving user experience. Implemented secure OAuth based onto the. Okay.
That's pretty some basic stuff, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, I think it's really good technical, but then I'm just trying to figure out like what projects have you led or done in the past that. So when you say build scalable backend services, it's like was this for a
Yeah.
specific project or is it this? For example, I also built like a REST API. But in my resume, the reason we built that REST API was because we had this like front end we wanted to launch our company globally. So the first startup that I worked at was called Nova Credit, which helped transfer credit credit history from people's home country into the U.S. So initially, we just had a full widget. It was like an iframe, and we controlled both the front end and the back end. So in order to launch globally, we need to complete. We had a bunch of customers who wanted to launch with us, but they wanted to control the front end experience. So we couldn't just ship them our widget that controls both the front end and back end. We had to build. We essentially had to take our back end and make it public. So we had to build out a public API, and yeah, we use like RESTful APIs in order to hit those. And then yeah, we had to kind of redesign the whole API for it to be public, and we let pretty much all of our partners that who want to control the front end experience just hit those APIs instead. So that was sort of the overall initiative with actually building that API. And in my resume, I
Mhm.
talk about it as like I helped the company expand globally by building these RESTful APIs. Essentially, like I worded it
Mhm.
something like that. So it kind of talks about the reason I did it and the impact on the company versus just saying that you built RESTful APIs kind of thing.
Yeah,
Does that
makes
make
sense.
sense or
It's
no?
just yeah, yeah, you're showing the business value, yeah? More
Yeah, exactly.
like yeah.
So for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, pretend there's like some L or some machine learning engineer and they're talking about and they're helping train GPT-4 or the llama models. If they were just talking about very specific things that they did and I didn't know that they were actually helping drive the GPT-4o model or the new llama model, I feel like they're losing out a bit because if I knew all of those things that they're working on underneath were to help drive that launch, I think it'll hold a bit more weight, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's kind of. Are you able to get interviews with this resume so far?
Uh, I don't know how to say, but to be honest, not that much. I applied a lot. I didn't hear much. Everyone's ghosting. Only Amazon reached out. And in the middle of the interviews, like we need to schedule the next step, but they're ghosting me, so I
Wow,
have no idea what's happening.
oh, that's annoying. Okay, let's see. But I think you have good experience. I would just say more. It depends on what you want to do, but I think having more business context there would be a little bit better. But I feel like you just started, so you have a
Hmm.
really solid resume. Honestly, the main thing I would say is career advice is just yeah, just positioning yourself into building out things for the company that you're working for that's gonna help advance your career. And a lot of those things are launching new product lines or working on the high priority things for the company. Um, yeah, if that makes
All right.
sense. So with every company, there's new product lines. Even with your own team, there's new initiatives that need to get done. And yeah, try to take those on and show that you can deliver on those and bring value to the company, kind of thing.
Yeah, and how would you add this business value thing as a first bullet point, like an overall, or how would you do that?
I just incorporated it inside of my bullet points. So in my bullet points, I'd be like, help the company go global with by building out this API, right? Help the company launch in Singapore. What's it called? Help the company expand to larger customers by doing X. There's just
Hmm.
different things like that. Like,
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
but you don't need every bullet point like that, right? But
Yeah, I'm thinking only the first ones, maybe.
yeah, yeah, like some of them you need some of them that just show like you help the yeah,
Yeah, okay.
like right now your bullet points are really good though, but it's hard to see. It's hard for me to understand the bigger picture of why you're doing all of these kind of things. It's like, okay, what's the
Hmm.
now that your ETL pipeline is really good? What was this ETL pipeline used for? Like, what system was it powering? So maybe even talking
Hmm.
about optimize our ETL pipeline performance for notifications or something. And then the moment you say notifications, that's a big part of the company and every like very important part of the company. Or optimize our ETL pipeline for our like like a very specific system. Like if you actually said the system, it provides more context on what it is. Because now, okay, you optimize ETL pipeline performance, but it could be some
Well,
random ETL pipeline that's not really used or I can't tell how critical it is or how like useful it is. Does that make sense?
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of ambiguity. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Cause yeah, you optimize the ETL pipeline, but what was the ETL pipeline for? Like, what was it? Yeah, what was the ETL pipeline for? That's kind of what I would try to say there too.
Hmm. Makes sense. To be honest, what I thought is that maybe my projects are weak. I don't know. People look into the project. Do people look into the projects when I have experience?
I think people look at the projects, especially if you're working at startups. I remember some startups I interviewed for. One of
Mhm.
their interview questions would literally be, "What was your favorite side project?" So, I think people care about your projects. Let's look at your projects. You built a DAG inspired by Airflow,
My
exposed
projects
REST
are weak.
APIs. I don't think they're weak. They're good. You've worked on projects. If I click on them, it'll lead to it. You built like a front
Hmm.
end. One thing you're also missing is like with some of your projects here, like what
Hmm.
where did you deploy them or something? Like what technologies did you use to deploy? Were they all just on AWS or Azure or
It was on all Azure, yeah.
okay. Honestly, I don't think your projects are bad. I think this resume will get you a lot of interviews even just as it is. Like the things that I said were kind of minor, but you just only have less than a year of experience. So
Mhm. Okay, so just move on and just gather some experience and yeah.
gather some experience and yeah, with everything you do, really focused on like work with your manager to find good projects for you to that's gonna help you build up your resume.
Mm. Okay. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Any other questions on that?
Yes. What is the, I don't know. I'm trying to switch into backend engineering,
Yeah.
and I switch my roadmap, let's say every month, because this guy says learn Java, this guy says, I don't know, learn JavaScript and build backend with that, because that's how you get employed. Like, why is everyone advising me different stuff? On what I should focus on? What would you say?
I would say like what's the difference between building a Python backend and one in Express? Like all of the underlying things are very similar. Even now I'm building it in Hack. It's like all the same principles kind of apply. I would take one,
Hmm.
probably Python and Django, honestly, because Python and Django, Python is only going to be used more and more because of AI. So just being able to really know Python makes you pretty employable. Honestly,
Okay.
it it all depends on where you're from. In San Francisco, I think learning Python, Django, or Node.js and Express probably will allow you to interview for at least all the startups literally use one of those stacks. I've never seen a brand new startup using Java backend with Java Spring. I've never seen that yet here in the Bay Area. So honestly, I would focus on Python, Django. I would focus
Hmm.
on either Python and Django, and Express on Node, TypeScript, whatever, and just
Hmm.
dive deep into it. I mean, start with basic HTTP REST APIs, and then just take it further and figure out the different ways to deploy it. You could have serverless functions. You could just deploy it on like a EC2 instance. You could you could deploy it in so much different ways. You could do like Kubernetes, and then see those are all infrastructure level things. Like when you use serverless functions, it could be Python, Java, whatever, right? That's why I'm just saying you don't really need to care about Python or what language because I've already had to do backends in four different languages and all of the principles are pretty much the same. There's just a slight tweak based on the programming language because some programming language have nice features. But I think once you understand the basics and go deep, you'll be able to just do whatever language it takes at any company, honestly. So I wouldn't never jump between programming language. I think it's not really as important as what programming language. The most important part is the principles, you know, Do you know how REST APIs work? Right? Are you good at
Mhm.
data modeling? I would say even the database stuff is more important than the language you choose. Do you know how to use SQL? Do you know how to use NoSQL? Do you know how to optimize queries in those languages? Do you know how to data model in SQL versus NoSQL? Do you know the client server, like how the client servers interact? Different things like that. Do you know how to cache? You know what I mean? Like those
Mhm,
are things that are
mhm.
more important. And I would just look at things at a high. I wouldn't like dig into specific technology. Like I wouldn't dig into Redis cache, right? Because that's just the implementation detail. But just understanding how a cache is used in order to speed up your system goes a long way in like when and where to use it. So I think those are the parts that you should focus on. I think especially when you have a lot more experience, like the programming language you use never doesn't really matter at all. You don't even look at the code as a specific language. You're just looking at the system as in terms of like different pieces.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, that's a good advice.
Yeah, I would just take one and go all the way through. Francis, what's up?
Okay, okay,
Alpha, what
that's
are
good.
you? Alpha, you're in the chat too. You're in the lounge. What'd you say? Ram, what's up?
Hey, hi Jay.
What's up? Are
Sorry,
you
James, right?
experienced grad
Yeah,
too? Like you've already
yeah,
graduated?
experience. Yeah, I have around 3 years of experience.
Nice. Where are you interviewing
Uh,
at?
so yeah, so I actually worked with one of the fan companies previously.
Nice.
I worked with Amazon.
Nice.
I'm from India, and I've been part of layoff after 1 year working from there.
Mm-hmm.
So the huge layoffs happened a year back.
Damn.
So then I joined some startup. Now I'm trying to go back to family.
Yeah. Do you already have a FANG interview already? Did you say you already was doing like Meta or something?
Yeah. I had with interviews with Stripe,
Nice.
Rippling and Meta.
Nice.
Stripe, I bottled in 1 round. So I got negative feedback in 1 round. So yeah, got rejected. I'm done
Mm-hmm.
with tripling rounds. So most probably I'm super positive about it. So all of my interviews looked very impressed. So yeah, expecting an offer. And Meta, I have interview for next month 10th. So looking like and Meta interviews for Meta London. So yeah, I'm really looking for it. So I would be moving out of India.
They're gonna move you out.
Yeah. I'm giving interview for Meta London.
Wait, where are you gonna move?
UK. Yeah. UK. I'm
Oh,
giving for
nice.
London.
Yeah. So, what do you think about learning? Like, which language did you learn, or do you agree also? It's like, don't even just focus on one. It's not really that important on.
Yeah, I actually give all my interviews in C++. It doesn't matter actually.
Nice.
As long as you are confident and good with one language and you basics of it. So 90% of principles will be same in almost all the languages. So yeah, I prefer going in depth in one language and peripherals of other than jumping around.
Okay. Ramin, you wanted a coding interview after this, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
do
that's fine.
a quick review on Cyclops right now. He just hopped on the voice. Cyclops, you wanna send me your resume? Just
Yo, yeah. Thanks again, by the way.
no problem, of course. Can you give a
Um,
background on yourself again? Like where you're trying to get into, just so it gives us context for the resume review.
yeah, so right now I'm just trying to, well, I'm a grad student right now,
Nice.
in Jersey, and I'm just trying to land, like, I guess some target companies that I'm trying to shoot for right now for like internships is like Datadog or like MongoDB,
Wait, you're the Stevens Institute or
so
something
yeah,
like
I'm
that?
Stevens,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
the Stevens guy.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, so
Oh, I
that's
thought I
like
looked at your resume
more or
once.
less some
Okay, did
background.
you send it to me?
I'm doing it right now. I got it. I like anonymized it and everything.
Yeah.
So It should
Did I
be
get
fine.
you on the? Oh, I asked you that one question that was
A toxic
annoying. Yeah,
question.
that was
Yeah. Yeah. I ended up solving it
nice.
that same day, but it took me like a few hours
Did
actually.
it make sense after you read it?
It did make sense, and God, I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't have figured it out like on the spot, to be honest, but it's okay.
Yeah, next perm. I hate that question.
Yeah. Yeah, the next parameter. The worst.
All right, let's read this. Paul, you're toxic, man. He likes that question.
Yeah, I see him in chat. It's diabolical. Crazy.
All right, okay, let's take a look at this. So, software engineer, you say your city, you say your number, your email, your LinkedIn. You have your own personal website.
Yeah, I do.
Do these actually link to when you click it? It goes into your
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Okay,
Yeah, it
perfect,
does,
perfect.
yeah.
So you talk about your master's, expected graduation. Damn, you finished school that quick, huh? Your bachelor's? Like 3
Actually, I
years?
graduated late. I finished it. My bachelor's I finished in 5 years. I like started 2018. So
Oh, okay.
I ended late my bachelor's, yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like
It
a year
said
late.
20. Okay, the way I put in my on my resume is when I put my start day and end day. I don't know because I don't know if that matters here though. Let's see.
I've always read up that like you should just always put your expected date or your like ending date, but you should never put your start date. I
I
don't know.
see. Okay.
Just because like I guess like some psychological thing, like I don't want them to know
I
that like I
graduated
finished late.
long too. I finished long too, but I
Yeah.
was doing like I took like 6 years to graduate.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, software intern. So, these bullet points are exactly how you had it, right? You didn't.
Yeah.
Um, so build admin. I think it's just say built, right?
So it's like so I just started this week that internship that you're looking at right now. So it's like that's the task that I'm doing like presently. So in terms of like action verbs, like I get like I assume that I should be using present tense since
Okay,
I'm currently doing it. Um, but I don't know how that would work kind of. Yeah.
I see.
It's kind of like that whole section, like the internship section, is like in the works because since I just started this week, so it's kind of like I'm like changing it around every now and then still, um, just to make it make sense.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Let me read this.
yeah,
So, build admin panel authentication system and database schemas for healthcare platforms serving doctors and patients. Working directly with VP of Engineering to establish foundational user management infrastructure. I would just say building an admin or something like that. Like as you're working on it right now, maybe
okay,
like building an ad. I think that read reads a little bit, or like instead of developing role based permissions and secure API endpoints. Okay, I think this is a really good. Honestly, when I'm looking at the experience, it's looking good. I think it. The way I like to see resumes is it. I like to see. Wait, what was this thing? I like to see like the business context, and I think you show that well. So you're developing role-based permissions and role-based permissions secure API endpoints, enabling scalable user access control across multiple user types in healthcare software, connecting medical professionals with patients. So what I would say is, yeah, right now you could have it present tense, as in you're building, like right now you're building, and right now you're developing, because right
okay,
now
yeah,
it's what I mean. What tense is this? Is like pretense, like you're gonna build.
yeah. Just like where I was just like, it didn't make sense at first either, but I just kept it. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna change it to
I would.
building. Yeah,
Yeah, I would be like, this is what I'm doing right now, and okay, maybe we can building for. So what I'm thinking here is with a lot of these things, you want to include metrics. You want to quantify it. So when you're building this authentication system, like how many people is this authentication service gonna service? Like how big? What's the scale of this system that you're building?
So right now, so like as far as I'm concerned, like for the company that I'm interning at, like the product is still like in development, so it's not even like public yet. So but I guess like just based off the context of the product, like of like it's supposed to like help doctors connect with patients and then vice versa. I guess like I can kind of like assume a number in that sense, since I don't have like a concrete like user count on the product yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
I don't know, like if you think like should I just like kind of assume a number based off the context of the product, or
I
what do
don't
you
think
think I
it's
should
I
do?
don't think it's that serious right now. I think I can't think of anything right now, but you're building an admin panel. What is this? What does that mean? What's an admin panel authentication system?
So well, the admin panel is just kind of like so I guess like they can go in and they can kind of like edit users' information, remove users. It's just kind of like an interface to do like all that instead of like having to go into like the actual database and like change it like yeah in the table
Okay, so
or like any of that stuff.
it's like an
Yeah,
admin portal or admin view that
yeah, it's like a
allows them to
portal. Yeah.
or admin dashboard, something like that. Not dashboard that just displays data, but like a admin console. I don't know. They call in AWS they call it like a console or something. But essentially, it allows admins to go in and modify the system, like the
Okay.
database. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
even know. I think that's not important. I think the main thing here is we should just say building and developing.
Yeah. I'm actually so like on my end right now, I'm like actively making changes like as we go
Nice.
through it. So yeah. Um.
Let's see.
Okay.
What's this like? The line here is a bit weird. It's breaking for experience, but taught weekly lab sessions for 20 plus students, guiding them through large scale data sets and tools like Snowflake and Snowpark using real world. Okay.
Yeah. So that's so I'm a well like I finished now, but I was a research assistant at my school, like my current school, and that was kind of like my supervisor for that semester. She wanted me to kind of like so as like a researcher, I'm kind of like basically doing lab sessions with like students and I'm like doing like hands-on exercises with them, which is kind of like different from what a researcher should be doing, but whatever, like I did it. And
Oh, this is cool. Like
yeah.
TAs and stuff, usually being a TA usually is good on the resume.
Yeah, except it wasn't like a TA position. So like in my school, there's TAs and then there's research assistants, and TAs are only you can only be a TA if you're a PhD student for some reason.
Mm,
So she gave me like a research assistant position, and as a research position, I have to like I just do lab sessions with students and I just teach them stuff, and she wanted me to teach them like data engineering topics. And like I just picked like Snowflake since it's
I
like a
see.
basically like a
Yeah.
more simple like topic. But
Yeah. One thing that you can do on the first experience is talk about the technologies used. So have like a bullet point afterwards and say the technologies used: Node.js, Express, Python, Django, whatever. Because I want to know what technologies you use to achieve this, because that's going to be useful for me to know. So I can send you my resume too. Send it to you.
okay, with the tech, when you say like the technologies used, are you talking about like the intern like position, or are you talking about like both of them, really?
Maybe both.
Okay.
It depends if you're just teaching, there's not that much technologies used, but right here, create and delivered, develop. Yeah, these are more teaching. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Technologies used is more pretend in your company you did all these things, building authentication system, building role-based permission, developing APIs. I want to know what languages and technologies you use in order to build those APIs, in order to build that authentication. I need to know the technical details of your system.
Okay.
Or I just need to know what technologies you use in order to solve those, because that's usually when people are hiring people, they do look at the technologies used. I'd prefer hiring somebody who did internships in Python than somebody who didn't do internships in Python, especially if they have the exact same resume. And
Okay.
I've
I see what
noticed
you mean.
that even when I had friends who were, so I had a friend apply for a Node.js position, and he had nothing on his resume that said Node.js. It
Oh,
didn't even say
okay.
anything Node.js. It talked about some REST APIs, but did not say Node.js, and he got rejected. But then we redid his resume, and he reapplied, and we just said, okay, built a Node.js endpoint, and some other things related to Node.js and Express. And then they saw that, and they actually gave him an interview. It's funny. I was like, he just sent in, but obviously he hit some of the keywords that matched the resume. Pretend you're
Yeah.
hiring someone for Node.js, and on their resume they never mention Node.js once, right? You see that?
Yeah.
I'll still take a chance if his experience is really good enough based on other stuff. But half the time, if I have 100 applicants, I'm looking for people who already pushed up projects in Node.js, honestly, or have interesting backgrounds that, for some reason, it caught my eye.
Okay. Yeah. Like, cause I have right now, like I have technologies used, but I don't have them in my, like I put them on my projects
Yeah,
mainly, like
exactly.
not
It
in
would look
my
like this. It would look
experience.
like this. Yeah, I like this because,
Yeah.
okay, I know that you built this. Imagine you just had this receipt splitting, and you didn't talk about the technologies. Then it just leaves it a bit. I would, as a recruiter, I would just be like, I would just wish you had that, so I would know right away if you do, you'd be able to just pick up the technologies that we use right away.
Okay. Cool.
So I think, yeah, you do have the technologies used. I just seen that. Let's see.
Okay. So even though I have them like here in my projects, like for these projects, so I still put technologies used in the experience section,
Yeah,
or is
I
it kind
think
of
it's even more
redundant in
important
that
on the,
sense? Oh, okay. Okay.
well,
Okay.
technologies used gets more important depending on the company you work, or as you get more experience too, because if you work at two different startups and the tech stack is two different ones, completely two different ones, it's nice to see the breakdown based on company. Oh, you worked at the Series A company doing Python and Django on AWS, and you worked at this Series F company doing Azure and like C Sharp or .NET
Okay.
programming. So like I get to know your two different experiences instead of you just listing those companies that you worked at, and then at the very end just telling me this that you know these ones, like you know C Sharp, Python, and then I don't know for what company you did that for, because you could just say you know that, but maybe you know it because you did it for a project, but that doesn't hold as much weight as you know it because you worked on it for 2 years at Microsoft. Right?
Okay. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll definitely add that here.
So yeah, technologies used. Taught weekly lab sessions for 20 plus students, guiding them through large scale data sets and tools like Snowflake and Snowpark using real world pipelines with millions of records. With millions of records, what is the order of magnitude? With 5 plus millions of records? Or?
Definitely like yeah, like in the 5 millions, like maybe like under 10 million
Yeah, I would just say
records.
5 plus million records or something.
Okay.
Just the more specific, the better.
All right. I'll add that.
Created and delivered hands-on course materials outside class time, reinforcing concepts like SQL, data warehousing, and distributed processing while deepening technical fluency. Nice, I like that. I would say, who did you create this content for? Did you create and deliver hands-on course materials to the same students, those 20 plus students? Did you develop it for a
So
specific
yeah.
course?
Um, so no, it wasn't for, so it was kind of like these like hands-on like materials that I'm creating are for like lab sessions outside of class. It's like something like that my supervisor would email out to the students, and then the students can choose to come to these like exercises basically, and then those are like the ones I'm teaching. Like I'm teaching them to students who choose to come. Um, and like I would have them like every week or so.
Are they
You know, I was like
master
split it up.
students? Are they students of specific courses?
They're just anyone from the school. Like it was mass
I
sent to
see.
like any bachelor or master students or etc. It's like anybody.
Okay. Dude,
Yeah.
yeah. Because what I was thinking, this is thinking out loud. I don't know how to rework this, but pretend if you're doing this for a specific course, be like, create and develop hands-on course materials for my data science, for the data science students, reinforcing concepts like SQL, data warehousing, and I mean, like, specifically say who the audience is, because that also could improve it too. Pretend I'm creating and delivering hands-on course materials for graduate students. That sounds a bit better because you're teaching graduate students all these concepts.
Okay. But like if I taught like literally
Yeah,
any
that
student, like bachelor's or graduate, or then how would I
yeah.
put
That's why
it?
I couldn't. That's why I couldn't think of wording it because right now you just say create and deliver hand-on course material outside class time. I think outside class time doesn't hold that much weight because for sure you're developing these outside class time already. But
Okay.
you're creating these and delivering it. The fact that you're creating and delivering these hands-on course, the way I am already imagining it from my end is, yeah, in your spare time you're developing these. But now what I'm wondering is who are you actually presenting these to? Well, who's the audience? How technical are the audience? How advanced are the audience? I'm more wondering who the audience is at this point.
Yeah. And I guess like in terms of like technicality of the audience, like their levels, like I couldn't really say because it can
Yeah.
be from like anybody from like zero experience, like or to like a couple years, depending on the student that shows up. But I don't know, like I guess could I say like all students or like
Yeah.
or should I just say students in general, like just students? Um, I don't know.
Yeah, something like created and delivered hands-on course experience to for like what was the name of the class? Was there a specific name of the class? Like Data Science 101 or something.
No, so that's the thing. So it wasn't for a class or it wasn't for a particular class at all. It was just kind of like they were optional like 2 hour or 2 hour long sessions that you can come to outside of class. Like it was not for any particular class or anything. Um it was just like okay, like every Wednesday at 7 p.m. or whatever, come to this room and we can talk about this topic today
Okay,
or whatever.
I see.
Yeah. And those like sessions I would create kind of like the exercises or like what I'm going to be talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'd be like created and presented created and presented materials including SQL data warehousing, distributed all of this to I don't know. This bullet point's already good though. I think we're let's move on actually. I think there not might not be anything to optimize there. Developed curriculum expansion with supervisor, introducing new exercises, and providing individualized feedback to help students build job ready skills. Honestly, I think this is really good. As
Okay.
somebody hiring, I think it's good that you know how to teach people because it shows that you have people skills as well. As because people a lot of time when you're working you just have to teach people stuff because I mean you might be working with non-technical folks and you have to teach them how the system works. So I think this is all good and now you're building up your experience actually building out products which is also good. Let's see.
Alright, cool.
Let's look at your project. Receipt splitting and payment platform portion. Build. Okay,
Oh yeah, I
this
have to
one.
fix
Yeah,
the fencing on that one too, yeah.
yeah.
That does fix that.
And for this, just say you built it already. I don't know, unless it's you're
So
still.
I'm currently like doing it. Yeah, I'm still doing it. So
Okay,
I'm
I'll
like
just say
building it. So
building bill splitting platform with secure group tracking through super base auth and RLS policies, supporting multi-user scalability through normalized Postgres. Through normalized, I'll say through a normalized. Improve reach speed. I would run some of these through Grammarly too, just to ensure and get feedback. You have Grammarly?
no, but I know what it is. So yeah, I'll
Yeah,
definitely run it.
it like will help you figure out some of those little things. Improve receipt. It would if you copied and pasted this in there, it would have complained. I think of the tensing of the bullet points. Improve receipt parsing accuracy by 40% by shifting. I think you need to put by 40% by shifting from traditional OCR to LLM based extraction using the Gemini API.
You're right.
That's pretty good.
By
Yeah, I'll just run some.
40%.
I would just run some of these through, and you can even run it through GPT. Be like, improve this bullet point. But I like how these are showing results too. Build full stack cognitive app with live matchmaking and fully typed code base, implementing 5 core game mechanics, including timers and real time scoring systems. Increase user accessibility by creating standalone web app, enabling. Honestly, your resume is really good and really technical. I think it shows somebody who's competent. It's just getting it. You just need to keep building your network and improve those slight things that I mentioned. But I think overall it's really
Okay.
solid for what like your experience so far. I would just build more. Right now the projects are solid. It's just more building out the experience and
Alright, cool.
building out a resume. You always have to be thinking about it, even when you're working too. When I was working too, I was thinking of what projects can I take that is gonna help me build my portfolio, help me build my resume. What are projects that I can talk about when I switch jobs? These are you really need to position yourself. You need to think 10 years or 5 years down the line of where you want to be and then try to figure out projects that will help you get to that area. So that's kind of I think you have a solid standing there, but the next part is just getting the right things on your resume, and that's gonna involve more than just like good pen work here, like writing. It's also gonna involve like you in real life navigating the job market and navigating your company to find the right things to work on.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely like I think this being my first internship like the summer is huge for me just because
Yeah,
like I
you
have
got
that
this
on my
because
resume
it's
because
already a
before I
really
didn't
good
even have that.
resume, and it's already
Yeah.
good work experience. I think it's gonna be really good.
All right, that's great. Thanks for the
Yeah,
help.
no problem.
Appreciate it. I guess like one question I have in terms of like the internship like bullet points. So I guess um because I know like I'm building like this admin like not but like a portal, like this admin portal. Like I know that the company like the team is gonna use this admin portal to like manage their like users. So I kind of want to emphasize like that impact that this feature is gonna have on the company. You know what I mean? Like these like, and it's not like a huge company. It's like 20 people. It's like a small startup. So it's like, I just want to emphasize like those like that point and those like, just like this company is gonna use this feature like actively. You know, um,
Yeah.
but I don't know like how to write that.
Wait, could you explain that again? So you're building this out and you know that the company is going to be using it. Like you know it's going to be well used and you want to emphasize that.
Yeah, like basically like emphasize the impact that the feature's
Yeah,
gonna have.
exactly. I think that's the most important part in a lot of these resumes is showing the impact. Because you can go and build an authentication system, you could develop a role-based permission, but what's the impact on the company? So I think what we would say here is redesigned. For example, pretend you built the authentication system and it is company wide. I would just say redesigned our company wide authentication system, something like that. I would. It takes some time. You need to figure out what the actual impact is, who it's affecting, how many people are going to use it, and then just work it. You're right that you need to work it in there. I just don't know off the top right now. It all depends on what impact it actually has. So
Okay.
I think with
And I
the
guess
go ahead.
like, oh, would it be like once I have that impact, I should just do you think like it should just be like a whole new bullet point like on its own, or should I just like update one of these? Like the impact.
It could be a bullet point on its own, depending. It honestly all depends on how you word it. Like, come up with
Okay.
some examples and send it to me. I'll reply quick.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll get to that then. All right, I think in overall, I think that's about yeah, that's really all my questions.
Yeah,
All right, cool. Thanks so
sounds
much.
good.
All right, I'm gonna hop out, and I'll send you the suggestions over DM. You can send me whenever. I know
Yeah.
you're packed right now, so. All right.
Problem, yeah, send
Thanks
it.
again.
You'll see. You want me to review a resume too?
Hey, it's mainly just career advice if you're available for
Yeah,
that.
let's do it. Let's
We're
talk
doing
about it.
resumes right now.
Let's talk about
Okay,
it.
perfect. Yeah, so I guess for context, I am a senior. I'll be graduating next fall, however, so it's a bit early. Right now, I currently have an internship lined up, but I heard the return offer rate for this company isn't too high. So I'm just trying to put myself in the best spot for graduation. And I just had questions on, I guess, recruiting, especially for kind of like a off-cycle graduation at December as opposed to the spring. Does that kind of change how I should approach when I should be applying and all of that?
Wait, sorry. Could you repeat that? Just the last part. Wait.
Yeah, so I'm graduating in December as opposed to spring recruiting or like graduating in the spring. I was wondering if that kind of changes the timeline on how I should be recruiting, just because I know right now, like spring 2026 internship openings are happening, but I'm kind of looking for a full time in December.
Oh, you're looking for full time in December? Let's see.
Yeah, so I'll be graduating in December.
Let's see this. Let me write. So you're graduating December 2026?
December 2025 of this year, yeah.
Okay, December. Okay.
So in like half a year.
Okay, graduating. Okay, are you based in the US or no?
Oh yeah, so I guess for some context, I attend Berkeley, so I'm
Oh, yeah.
based in the Bay Area, and also my college is in the Bay Area. So hopefully post grad, I would like to stay in the Bay Area and work at home.
Yeah.
In terms of the company I want to work at, I think I'm pretty open to Fang, open to startups as well. But yeah, I guess that's a little bit of background. Just open to just any kind of job opportunity, ideally located in the Bay Area.
Yeah. I think you shouldn't have trouble finding jobs in December 2025. When it comes to full time, people are hiring right away. But it does mess it up a little bit because some of those fan companies like to hire new grads all at the same time or like to start new grads in May because usually they're starting it with a bunch of people who just graduate and they all try to start them at the same time. So I think, but your thing is how does it change that you're graduating 2025 or December instead of May?
I guess what I'm kind of confused about is should I be applying for new grad roles? Because I'm afraid that the new grad roles are more catered towards people who can start right away or who graduated, I guess, spring of 25. Should I be applying for those new grad roles? Because I'm not sure if they're looking for people immediately starting or if I should just be, yeah, I guess I just don't know like the timeline in terms of are they looking for someone starting right away, or are they open for me delaying my job for 6 months in December?
Yeah. Did you already do internship or no?
Yeah, so I interned last summer at a fintech company. I got a intern return offer for this summer, but I heard the full-time conversion is not that high. So ideally, I would still want to work there. But if unfortunately I can't get a full-time return offer, I do want to put myself in a good spot. So I'm trying to recruit right now as well.
Mm-hmm. Wait, it's replying in the chat. So should they? Okay, let me think about it. I think you should start applying right away. That's pretty much the main advice there is. I mean, all these companies, even if they're looking for someone right away, even if they're looking for somebody right away, you're still gonna get if they're not gonna interview you unless they want to unless they're gonna make it work. And when it comes to new grads, usually they'll hire you or they'll put you through the process. That takes about 2 months, 3 months sometimes. And then after the 3 months, you can choose to start in 3 months after that a lot of times. So 3 months plus 3 months, that's already 6 months. That's already gets you to December. So
Okay,
pretending you
yeah.
start applying right now, how long will it take to actually get some reach backs? Worst case, even or in a good case, a few weeks. That takes you up until mid June. Worst
Okay.
case, it takes you a couple months. That gets you into like August, mid August, almost September, and then from there, when it's already September, October, November, and you're going through the process, it's only they only have to wait a few months before you start, right? So I think the interview. I think if you start looking right now, it's gonna line up perfectly for you to start somewhere in December, because I'm assuming you're gonna probably end somewhere early December too, right? Not
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I
Oh,
would say definitely worst case start prepping right now. Start prepping right now and start throwing your resumes out right now. You don't want to just start throwing your resumes 2 to 3 months before you graduate, because like your window is so small. It takes more than 3 months to get a job. 100%, it takes more than 3 months to get a job. Unless you get really lucky or really good. It takes for me. It took 6 months to land a new job. Each time I apply, every recruiting cycle, 3 to 6 months, 4 to 6 months for me to get the interview. And if I include even preparation time, probably I've already like 7 8 months. So I would say right away you should just start preparing, start building out your resume, start seeing why you got rejected, start building connections. Even if they say they can't interview right now, just leave the door open for when the day gets closer. So I would just start everything right now, especially it's the summer. Companies are, yeah, I think it's a good time. That makes sense.
okay. Yeah. And then in terms of just recruiting in general, I'm pretty confident in my lead code skills. I've been lead coding for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that I don't really have much practical experience in terms of just working on like everyday tech stacks and technologies. Most of my like CS knowledge is more theoretical. So
Mm-hmm.
things like AWS, I'm not really too familiar with. Like with React, I've heard of it, but never really had to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer to that is probably just build a project. But I guess could you kind of give me like a little breakthrough on how I should, or like what are some pretty good technologies to learn and how I would go about learning them? I was looking over the React documentation, but I'm not sure if that's the best way to start. Um, yeah, I guess with someone who's pretty good technically and like with theoretical concepts, what is the best way to learn more applicable industry concepts
Yeah,
for interviews specifically?
I would say like being in the Bay Area, where you're also recruiting or where you're hiring for, different things like Python, Django, AWS, React, Node.js, all those ones are very employable. All these startups use those technologies and build on top of the build use those technology. Yeah, even like the Mern app, like Mike said, Mongo. Yeah. So I would say, I mean, the lowest hanging fruit is definitely a portfolio website. So the advice that I always give people is have something on your resume where you built out a front end, you built out a back end, maybe you deployed the back end on something like AWS. You have the front end being accessible using the web. That means maybe you bought a domain and you figured out how to set it up so people can access your website on the web. You deployed your front end application somewhere. Like have a full stack application that shows you know how to use the front end, you know how to deploy some sort of back end. The back end is interacting with some database, and then you're hosting all of that on some infrastructure that these companies use. I think that shows a lot of breadth and knowledge. And from there, now that I kind of understand that you know all these different things, it's just super employable because I understand that you know what it takes to take a project and launch it and have people use it.
Okay, I guess, but what is the like the best way to do it? Because in my head right now, I can probably just GPT like, oh, can you design me the front end or kind of like code along with AI, which I feel like I probably won't learn the foundations of front end and back end. I'm just kind of like asking questions, getting answers. How would you approach, I guess, learning a framework? Would it just be relying on AI and kind of going from there?
Dude,
Yeah,
I
I just
would
feel like there might be a
literally,
big conceptual gap.
yeah, the I think what I do is build up from very basic applications. So pretend I needed to build a React app. The first one that I would build is a simple Hello World React app. One that takes in a simple component and then just returns Hello World in a paragraph, right? And then and once I get that working, I slowly start to build it out. Maybe I'll build out a static page of my resume or just a small section about me. Then I'll build more complicated things like a navigation bar, right? So slowly build it up. For example, recently I was learning GraphQL. So the way I did that is I just built a simple GraphQL to-do list. And the way that I built the GraphQL is I didn't even hook it into a database. I just used in-memory database or in-memory constants and in-memory objects that I would just use JavaScript filter methods to filter out data. But I was more focused on how do I build the GraphQL schema types, resolvers, and stuff like that. So I think working on a very even working on the most very basic example, a hello world, a to-do list, will get your feet wet and get you confident to continue building the bigger project. So yeah, I think start with just very small examples, very easy things. Try to knock it out in a weekend and then slowly just keep expanding. So you're a smart guy. I'm pretty sure you can learn React in less than a week. And then once you learn React, every company uses it. Meta still uses it. Rippling, where I were used to use it. Every company that I know at where I know people work, knowing those technologies helps for sure.
Okay,
And
yeah,
a
that
lot of
makes.
companies these days just straight up hire for product engineers or infrastructure engineers. So what's a product engineer? A product engineer is kind of a new term a lot of people use, but it's essentially it's not just a full stack engineer because full stack engineer they're really just focused on full stack engineer just means you work on the front end back end. Product engineers also just the extra thing is you're building parts for the product and you're really product focused kind of thing. So I think a lot of companies like which path do you want to go? Do you like want to be like a product generalist working on product? Do you like building products out for people, features and things that they can use, or do you like working on infrastructures like frameworks for people or even the actual infrastructure like AWS?
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think I'm still kind of exploring the industry and just having more hands-on experience. But I think I'm like just open to everything right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, does that answer your questions or no?
Yeah, it does. And I guess in terms of dividing your time, I know you mentioned in the earlier call like 60/40 lead code projects. I guess how would you, I guess with an internship as well, how would you balance the time? Because I feel like lead coding is already kind of like a full-time thing along with building projects. Is there kind of like a, just, is it kind of just like do everything at the same time, or how would you kind of navigate like all of the things you kind of have to do when it comes to recruiting?
Honestly, personally for me, I never did lead code until I had an interview scheduled. Or I never went hard at lead code until I had an interview scheduled. I would only do I would only do lead code as soon as I had something scheduled, because that's the only time I'm really even motivated to do lead code anyways. So most of the time I spent was working on projects, trying to build out things for my resume. Honestly, there was just a lot of things that I even wanted to build because I thought that it could make me money, or I thought that people would use it. So I spent a lot of time focusing on that. And yeah, some of those ended up on my resume. And then when I would have interviews, even when I would have interviews, or even it during recruiting, if I had no interviews, I would focus my time on applying for companies, making sure my resume was good, and just spamming.
Okay. And then in terms of applying, um, I guess I've kind of heard mixed opinions about tailoring your resume. Since we're just mass applying, would you say it's still worth tailoring your resume for every single application you're sending? And if so, I guess what is the best way to do it? Is it just like shoving it into AI and like, hey, can you reformat it to include these keywords, or would you personally like, change it line by line?
What I would do is the way I did is I had multiple variations. So I would have product focused resume. I would have an infrastructure focused resume. If I was applying for data companies, I would have ones with more of my data projects. If I was applying for quants, I would have a quant focused one. So I would have four general ones, and then I would just send that specific one to the company. So if I was applying to one that's maybe if I'm applying for a quant, I would switch out the bullet points and switch out my projects based on things that I think they would like. So I think what I would do is depending on the type of companies I would reach out for, I would have sort of four different like types and then just use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I guess is this advice still applicable for like someone in college or a new grad? I feel like the most of the experience I have is just like I wouldn't be able to change the experience since yeah,
No, that I
it's
was doing that as a new grad. I was doing that. I was doing that as a when I was still in college, and I was switching out my I would just switch out my projects. So I did some projects that were machine learning focused, but I noticed those didn't do that well when I'm applying for full stack roles too. So in the full stack roles, they just care about, I mean, like some of those technologies like React and all that stuff. So I'll just swap those projects in. So I think since you don't have the experience, you'll have to swap in and out projects that match that. And yeah, even the bullet points, if it's a more back end focused ones, like you might have different bullet points that you could use. So I would basically, to answer your question of just having if you should tailor or not, if you should tailor or not, I would say I wouldn't tailor it for each company, but I would tailor it for the category. So I would tailor one for back end, I would tailor one for front end, I would tailor one for quant.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then in terms of just like general interview questions, should I be focusing on system design as well? Or should it like I guess what would the priority be between like lead code, projects, like learning system design, learning new technologies, in terms of just like solely for recruiting like sake, as opposed to like being a
Uh,
better software engineer. If my
uh,
goal is to like recruit.
yeah. If your goal is to recruit, I think as a new grad, I studied system design, but I wasn't that good at it. I think they have to ask system design if you're not an intern. if you're applying for new grad and you're not a return intern, I'm pretty sure a lot of them ask system design, because I was asked system design, but very basic ones, sort of like data modeling. But I would ask the recruiter. That's all. Yeah. When I
Yeah.
did it, when I was applying, when I was graduating college, I studied system design. But yeah, I pretty much studied system design. So, but that, like, it might have changed. I actually don't know.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I remember at Bloomberg
Um,
they asked me system design. At Amazon they didn't. Some of the startups they're asking me system design. So it all depends on where you're interviewing for.
okay. Okay, and I guess since my next semester will be pretty light, what are some good habits to kind of fall into to best prepare for recruiting? I'm assuming like waking up and then just setting some job apps, maybe doing the code daily every day. But are there any other things that I should like start building habits for recruiting?
Yeah, I would build out my network for sure. Build out. Honestly, for me, LinkedIn was the best. Where I get all my jobs. So definitely building out the LinkedIn, keeping sharp on leak code. So probably doing the dailies, or just cycling through the different patterns. Maybe one day do a two pointer, one day do DFS, and just keeping sharp on that. Um, the main focus is actually getting applications. Honestly, you're applying for the Bay Area, so you're probably gonna get a lot of interviews at different startups, and startups ask completely different things from startup to startup, and it's way more practical. It's most of the time it's not leak code. Pretty sure only the fan companies ask leak code. So I would just say for habits, just keep. I think what you're doing, like, how much time do you spend a day actually working on this stuff?
I've only been lead coding daily for like an hour, 2 hours a day, but that's pretty much it. I kind of held a stop on sending apps out. But yeah, I'll definitely start starting applications out soon again.
Yeah, like that's way more than enough. 1 hour to 2 hours. I would focus. The way I did it is when I was graduating in my last semester, I would just be in class, and some of the classes were boring. I'd be sending out apps during my classes, and then yeah, just doing a little bit of leak code to stay fresh. But the main thing is just sending out as much apps and getting as much interviews as possible, because it's all a numbers game at the end of the day. If you only have one interview and then you flunk it, it sucks, because then you only had that one. So it's a numbers game. Shoot out as many shots as possible, get as much interviews as possible, and it increases the chances of you passing them. If you don't pass it, still good experience that you went through it, and you'll always have that experience. Like, I've went through so much interview processes at this point, and they've all helped me, even if I failed them, with the ones later on in the future.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's all of the questions I have now. I'll probably touch up my resume and send it in the channel once it's good. But yeah, appreciate all of the advice.
No
Thank you.
problem. No problem. ZA, you're up next.
Hey, what's going on?
What's
Thanks.
up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Jake? What's going on? I'm good. I'm
Good,
good.
good.
Can't complain. Can't complain.
Where are you
I'm
based?
Za. Well, my name's Zaire,
Za.
but Zaz for sure. Yeah. I'm in
Where are you
Philly.
based? Philly?
Philly. Yeah, I'm
Nice.
from Philly. Yeah. I went to a state school, Westchester State School in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
I got accepted to other colleges, but I know, like, at one point it's like the college don't matter. It's just the work you put in or whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, So I'm graduating. Well, I'm set to graduate. I got my last summer class. It's like Stat 200, a math class, which runs from like June 30th to August. I
Mm-hmm.
think I know I had linked into before. I had the Comcast job, but I didn't. I guess I didn't pass the last final round. I guess somebody outbeat me as far as solving a problem. So they gave it to somebody else. But
Mm-hmm.
I did find out that it wasn't a. It was like a site. It was a site reliability engineering role. So it was like it wasn't that much coding involved. So it's not like I know it's like is that like production engineering. I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
want to do that. I wanted more of like greenfield engineering or like building features or building stuff. Where
Yeah.
I'm like I'm coding majority of the role. So I didn't get it. So the other offer I did end up getting from a government company, they rescinded because of I guess budget cuts. So now I'm
Okay.
like, damn. Now I'm like, I don't have anything right now. I did get. I don't know if you heard of AI Ignite program before. I guess it's
Sounds
like
familiar.
a, a prep program. They like you learn like AI ML throughout like the internship. For 13 weeks, you like build a project, and like the last 7 weeks like career readiness. I think they have
Mm-hmm.
like an career fair at the end or whatever. So I just been doing that over the summer, and then reading on like Leak Code. I think Leak Code DSA course I had bought that kind of similar to the coding interview patterns, just like the
Yeah.
learn patterns for each data structure. I've just been doing that and applying. I guess would you say a good timeline for me? Because I was gonna stay in Philly. 'Cause I had bought a house and stuff, but I kind of want to move low key. So
Mm-hmm.
just like you think a good timeline for me to get a job? I guess say like I guess like end of August, September ish. Like the next like big hiring opening, or if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So wait, you already graduated school and everything. You're not doing school no more. You're done.
Yeah, yeah. So I got one more class. It's online. It's Stat 200. It's from June 30th. I think it ends in like mid August. That's my
Okay.
last
Is
class.
it a
So I'm
bachelor's in
done.
computer science?
Bachelor's, yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
So what do you do so far? Are you already working or no?
So I started the AI internship, the Ignite program or whatever. I think from what I've read from it and what I'm learning, it's supposed to be like a prep, a AI ML. It's supposed to prep you for AI ML roles, whether that's internships or new grad. So I'm doing that right now. Other than that, it's been building projects on my resume and trying to improve them, and then just doing like leak code, basically.
I see. Okay, so you're about to graduate and you're trying to get jobs. Wait, when do
Yeah,
you finish
basically, I'm
that
trying to have
course?
the statistics course
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
internship.
Well, I
Oh,
guess.
the statistics course is the course is over. I think mid August. It runs from June 30th to like August, end of August.
Okay. When do you get your degree though? Like when is your degree conferred and you're done?
Basically after that. Basically
Okay,
after that.
August.
As soon as I'm done. Yeah, basically after that. I would say like I could start working in September. I mean, technically, if I get hired now, I can start working now because it's online. It's no in person. So my
Yeah,
last course is online. So, but my complete degree is completely finished like mid August once I finish the last class.
I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
how is the job hunt going for you?
I think I'm getting a pretty okay response rate. I think I'm applying to like maybe 20, 30 jobs a day, if not
Wow.
more. But I was doing it like locally. I've
Yeah.
been getting interviews. I think I got to two final rounds with Comcast and the other company, the other government company. The other
Nice.
ones, they say another candidate was better or whatever. I could send you my resume or put
Yeah,
it
send it.
in the general chat
Yeah, drop
or
it. I'll
whatever.
see.
Okay. I think it's
So
okay. I was going to make some changes to it. I think once I finish the internship and just kind of percolate some stuff. But I
yeah,
think
you're already
it's
going
not too bad.
crazy though. Like 20, 30 per day. I like that. That's good work ethic. That's what it really takes to actually get a job in this environment.
Yeah,
How is the or you getting response rate? Wait, did you send it yet? I just curious. I just need to see what work you put on the resume.
I'm putting it in general. Hold on, it's
How
not
are
letting
your
me do
lead
it. Hold
coding
on. Hold on.
skills?
Not bad. I'm improving them. Why is it not? It's not letting me drop this. Hold on. Let me see. Can I? Let's see if I can just DM it to you. Resume. Hold on. One second. Not bad. I'm doing a review. I'm doing a LeetCode DSA course. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. I'm doing that just to kind of just to review my patterns and stuff because I got free time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Um,
doing the one on
yeah,
leak code. The leak code
yeah. The
discuss ones, right?
DSA,
Yeah. Those ones are really
yeah.
good. The
It was
ones
like
built by leak code, right?
$60.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was like $60. It wasn't really expensive, so I said, "Fuck it," might as well.
Yeah, I remember you're the
I'm gonna
one
just get it.
recommending it. Let's see.
Yeah.
Leak
So
code.
I'm on like the hash map section. I'm on like
Nice.
counting and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of taking my time going through it.
That's good.
I just DM'd you my resume. I don't
Grinding.
know. I didn't let
That's
me
good.
post it.
Let's see.
Yeah. But I'm like, and I want to move. So I was looking locally because I was going to stay in Philly a little bit 'cause I just bought a house. But I'm like, you know what? Since I got the internship, I don't have a job yet. I'm out. So it's like, should I just grind and bust my behind for the next 3 months and try to get like move like West Coast or like a Fang level or whatever?
Yeah.
I just I'm just trying to just stay positive.
Let's see. Dude, your resume's already looking solid. Let's see.
Oh, thanks. I want to replace some stuff on there. Like I was going to replace a couple engineers, thing like you. Others told me like keep the prep charter summer instructor on there because it's like good to see like your balance and not just about just coding. But I was going to replace that. Well, replace that with the AI internship when it's over, whatever project that we build. I was going to replace that with like experience. Replace that. But other than that, I don't know what else to add or maybe anything change.
Okay, let's look through enhanced system performance, reducing average page load times by 35%,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
improving response times by 25, reduce average page load times by 35%, improve response times by 20%, leading to 15% faster ticket resolution for faculty and students.
yeah. It's like an internship IoT role I did at my university when I was there. Um, so I figured that's valid work experience. But I don't really get asked that honestly about on interviews. They mainly ask about my projects that I built, which is
Oh,
Power Match
they
and
like that one, huh?
Sensory App. Yeah, they asked me about Power Match and the Sensory App. They never really asked me about my Westchester experience or my research. Well, yeah, a research project. But they don't really ask me about the IoT engineer role. Really about what project did you build? How did that go? X, Y, and Z. What
I
did you
think
do?
that's a
Like
big
that.
part of it too. When I was
Yeah,
interviewing as a new grad, they want to
yeah,
know they want to know how motivated you are to work on things
yeah,
outside of your normal day to day, and they want to see your
yeah. That makes
initiative, and they
sense.
want to see that because what happens in a job is it's not the same thing in school. It's completely different. You're taking
Right,
projects
right.
that you need to drive yourself, and you need to have the initiative and ambition to solve them. So
To
that's why I
solve them.
think
Got
projects
you.
are really what helps people a lot, especially if they're coming
Got
out
you.
of
Got you.
graduation. But like once you start graduating, projects aren't as
Yeah,
important. It's more important your experience because they
yeah,
want to know
yeah.
that you're able to actually work in the industry and deliver value to whoever you worked at. But let's
Yeah,
see.
makes sense.
No, honestly, your resume is really good, and you're getting a good response rate. What do you think? Do you have any specific things you want to ask on
So I'm learning JavaScript. I was thinking like the Odin project. I was going to just do that over the summer. Just kind of like learn like React and stuff like that. Just kind of learning a little front end. I'm seeing like a lot of roles now, whether they're full stack or whatever, whatever. Like React is a thing. I know isn't React like it's not a framework. Is it a library, right? In JavaScript, or is that
yeah,
a framework?
it's like a framework. Let's say it's a
Framework.
framework.
Okay. So I was trying to learn like JavaScript, and then just learn React and try to build my portfolio website or something like that. I know you mentioned that earlier with the other gentleman, and
Mm-hmm.
just try to monetize my stuff that way. And then so I know I could have some type of front end on my resume. I know it, so like I know a little bit of back end or some front end, so kind of see more well rounded for roles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um. I guess yeah, with the DSA. So you think I guess I will be in May? I guess into May, June. Would you say like August, September ish? I should be able to have hopefully be able to find a job by then, a new grad role by then. I
Oh
know my
yeah,
internship is ending
I
like
would
the end
be
of
high.
August.
I would be applying right now. It's way too close
Okay,
to that point. It
okay,
takes
okay.
multiple
And I,
months
and
to
I
get a
am,
job.
I am.
So
Yeah, yeah. I'm applying every day. I'm getting
you
hit. I am getting hit. Some. I'm getting denied. I'm getting ghosted. Basically all the above. But
so
I've been getting hit still.
on your LinkedIn, do you say that you're open for work? Because that's helpful too for getting for.
Uh,
And it doesn't
yeah.
need
I
to
think I'm at.
be.
I'm at.
It doesn't need to be. You don't need the banner, but you could say that
Oh,
you're open to work without the banner, and that
okay.
really helps you get inbounds.
Getting filter. Yeah, the filters for. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll change that. Actually, open to work. Just change the banner.
And then also another
Change it.
thing is you don't care where you work or you want to stay in Philly.
No, I'm down to move. I was at one point like the last few months, but I'm like, you know what? I don't have any kids or nothing. I could move out my house and rent it out.
Yeah.
When I'm out, I'm out. So I'm applying everywhere.
Okay. So what I would say is another are you how do you even find jobs right now? How do you find jobs to work
Like
at right now?
like LinkedIn, I'm using like my friend told me about this little hack you could do where you could change the values from the 3600 if you do last 24 hours, and it's just like the last recent jobs that's post. I just been applying LinkedIn heavy, and then I'll just use GitHub Simplify repository, and
Okay,
like
yeah, there's those
once the jobs
repos
get
too.
listed. Yeah, repos. I just been
It's
applying to
really good.
those, and
Yeah.
then LinkedIn, basically.
Have you tried going on like Y Combinator or some of those
I have.
start?
I
Yeah.
have not. I know you mentioned in the stream. I'm not sure what that was. I know it's a startup accelerator, right? Basically,
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Y Combinator is basically like a venture capital fund or start. They're a
Mm-hmm.
startup accelerator, but at this point they're a venture capital fund. They take money from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they even take money from people. Maybe they were just
Yeah,
founded by people who had a lot of money in general. But what they did is
makes
they
sense.
invest money into these startups to very
Mm-hmm.
small stage start companies that are just starting. They invest money to them,
Mm-hmm.
and they run them
Mm-hmm.
through this Y Combinator program, which is a very intense program where at the end of
Mm-hmm.
it you need to have a product and you need to pitch it in front of investors. But essentially
Mm-hmm.
what they do is they basically try to help startups like grow
Mm-hmm.
or help startups even get up and running. So
Okay. Okay.
they have a lot of companies under their portfolio. So these are companies that they might have put money in or I mean that most of
Mm-hmm.
these Y Combinator companies are companies that they did put money in. So
Mm-hmm.
look at the startup directory. I'm gonna send it in
Okay.
the group chat. I'll send it to you right here.
Okay.
Look at their
Thanks. I'll
startup
check that out.
directory, and you could see all the startups they work at. If you also filter for the newest batches, spring
Yeah.
2025, winter 2025, you'll see that's only
Mm-hmm.
293 companies, and a lot of these companies are hiring right now. They need people. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
these
Bet.
companies are
Okay.
really good, and these companies have
Oh, I
really
see something.
hold a lot of weight too, because these
Okay.
companies, Y Combinator is one of the best, one of the top companies, and
Mm-hmm.
people know they have really high people have really high regard for these companies or like people who get into YC, and these companies
Gotcha.
a lot of them end up doing well too. Like Y
Okay.
Combinator
So I see
invested
none
in
of it.
DoorDash, Dropbox, Airbnb, all those companies when they first
Yeah.
started.
Okay. So this like a resource I can use to find jobs. I see. Oh, I see. I see. Batch spring 2025, winter 2025 hiring, and then I can just click on them and apply or whatever.
Yeah. Well, another thing that you
Okay.
could try to do is try to look for fellowship programs because that's what I
Okay.
did when I
Fellowship,
graduated. Like, I joined this Kleiner
fellowship
Perkins.
program.
So try to apply for those fellowship programs, because sometimes when you apply for those, once you get
Mm-hmm.
in, you get access to all the companies. So I applied for this fellowship called Kleiner Perkins, and Kleiner Perkins is a venture capital fund, and they take money in and invest it into
Mm-hmm.
startups, but a lot later stage in these startups. So once I got into
Mm-hmm.
the fellowship, they pretty much told
Mm-hmm.
me just pick 5 companies in our portfolio, and then we'll let you go interview for them. So instead of just applying for those places separately, I just applied to
Mm-hmm.
Kleiner Perkins, and then Kleiner Perkins hooked me up with one of their portfolio companies, and they're all like really good startups. So find ways to get to leverage those sort of communities and programs as well, especially your student. Those kind of
Mm-hmm.
programs are the ones that will that you have access to, right?
Gotcha. I got you. Okay. Kleiner Perkins. Wrote that down too.
There's so
Okay.
many different fellowship
Okay.
programs.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll just Google some. All right, cool, cool, cool. Okay, so basically, just keep my lead coding, keep running through the course. I might probably end up doing lead code 150 after that's done, just to kind of reinforce what I learned. And
Yeah,
then, I guess just keep building projects or whatever, emphasizing on those, and then just keep applying. Hopefully, something will stick.
yeah. Just keep doing projects. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. It's all the stuff that you're doing right now is stuff that you're gonna be doing 10 years from now.
right, right. I know it's a
It doesn't
numbers
end.
game.
It
Yeah,
never
I know
ends.
it's a number. Yeah, yeah.
Process, this process, the same new grad grind that I did is the same grind that I did recently to get my last company. So it's, once you lock it in and you understand the strategy,
Yeah,
you're set. So I think you're already
yeah.
good. Thanks for reaching out. Let me know if, like, just message me if you ever need any referrals or anything.
Okay. And thanks for the advice too. So
No
I'll just
problem.
continue that
Yeah.
and
Any
keep
other
pushing.
thing?
Um, no, that's it. I mean, you gave me all the game. So you said I'm doing. I think I'm doing right. So I'll just continue to push, and I'll just if I have any other questions, I'll reach out in
For
near
sure,
future.
100%. Thanks for
Okay.
coming on.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right, bye.
Peace. Ram, you ready? All right. That concludes our career advice section. We're gonna get back into coding interviews.